The village of Willow Creek was nestled in a valley surrounded by dense, whispering woods. Life here had always been peaceful, with each day blending quietly into the next. But the death of Evelyn Harper, a woman beloved by all, cast a shadow over the village. She had been a figure of kindness, known for her selfless work helping the poor and mentoring children. Her passing was sudden and unexplained, leaving an air of unease that hung over Willow Creek like morning fog. The funeral took place on a chilly, overcast afternoon. Villagers gathered in somber silence, their faces lined with grief. Father Gregory, the village priest, stood at the altar of the old stone church, offering prayers for Evelyn's soul. Mourners filled every pew, but no words of comfort could erase the strange tension in the air. Something was off, though no one dared to voice it aloud. Adam Keller sat near the back, his German shepherd, Rex, lying obediently at his feet. The dog had been unusually restless since they had entered the church. Adam, a man in his early 30s with sharp hazel eyes and a quiet strength about him, had come to pay his respects like everyone else. Evelyn had been a friend to him, always welcoming him with a warm smile and advice when he needed it. As Father Gregory continued the service, Rex's ears twitched. He suddenly rose to his feet, tail rigid and nose sniffing the air. A low growl rumbled from deep in his throat. Adam frowned and gently patted Rex on the head, hoping to calm him down. But Rex's behavior only grew more erratic. His growl turned into a series of sharp barks that echoed through the church, cutting through the priest's words. Heads turned in shock. Murmurs rippled through the congregation. Adam whispered urgently, "Rex, what's wrong?" "Quiet." But the dog refused to stop. He strained on his leash, his focus locked on the coffin at the front of the church. "Control that animal," Father Gregory snapped, his usually composed demeanor faltering for a moment. "I'm sorry," Adam apologized, tugging at the leash, but Rex's barking persisted, filled with an urgency Adam had never heard before. It wasn't aggression. There was a warning in his voice, a desperate need to be understood. The funeral paused as several villagers exchanged worried glances. "Dogs have strong senses," an elderly woman whispered. "Maybe he senses something we don't." Father Gregory quickly resumed the service, but the mood had shifted. People couldn't shake the unsettling scene, and neither could Adam. As the mourners slowly filed out of the church after the ceremony, he stayed behind, letting Rex lead him closer to the coffin. The dog sniffed around it intensely before turning to Adam, letting out a soft whimper. Adam knelt beside his loyal companion, studying him closely. "What is it, boy? You know something, don't you?" The priest approached them, his gaze steely. "You should leave now, Adam. The service is over." Adam rose to his feet. "Of course. I'm sorry for the disturbance." But as he walked away, he couldn't shake the feeling that Rex's instincts were trying to tell him something important. Rex had never behaved like this before, and Adam had learned to trust his dog's sharp senses in the past. Outside the church, Adam paused near the cemetery gates. The air felt colder, the village unusually quiet. He gave Rex a thoughtful look. "Come on, boy. Let's go for a walk." They headed down a winding path toward Evelyn's cottage on the outskirts of the village. Adam had a nagging suspicion that Rex's strange reaction was connected to something deeper. Evelyn's death had been ruled natural, yet rumors swirled about her health deteriorating too rapidly. Adam knew that if he didn't follow his instincts, and Rex's, he would never get the answers he needed. The cottage stood silent and dark, its windows reflecting the gray sky. Adam found the spare key hidden beneath a loose stone by the door, just as Evelyn had shown him once. He pushed the door open, and Rex darted inside, sniffing every corner of the room with purpose.
"Alright, Rex, adam mutteret."
"Let's see what you find." As Adam wandered through the house, memories of Evelyn's warmth filled his mind. He could almost hear her cheerful laughter and feel the comfort of her presence. But those thoughts were quickly interrupted when Rex began barking again. Adam hurried to find him in Evelyn's small study, where the dog was scratching at a section of the floor near a bookshelf. "Hidden compartment?" Adam mused, kneeling to inspect the area. He carefully moved the bookshelf aside, revealing a loose floorboard. Beneath it was a small wooden box, locked but easily pried open with a screwdriver Adam found in a nearby drawer. Inside were letters, faded with age but meticulously organized. Adam flipped through them, his brow furrowing as he read fragments of Evelyn's correspondence. Mentions of stolen donations, veiled threats, and someone referred to only as G appeared repeatedly. "What is this?" Adam whispered, feeling the weight of something far more sinister than he had anticipated. Rex nudged him gently, his eyes filled with an intelligence that seemed to say, "We're onto something." Adam knew they had just scratched the surface of a dark secret, one that Evelyn had taken to her grave. He wasn't sure where this path would lead, but he and Rex were ready to follow it, no matter the danger. Adam sat at Evelyn's desk, the wooden box of letters and documents spread out before him. The room was quiet except for the rhythmic sound of Rex's paws pacing across the wooden floor. Each letter revealed more pieces of a troubling puzzle. Evelyn had known something dangerous, and it might have cost her life. The letters painted a picture of deception hidden behind the peaceful facade of Willow Creek. There were accusations of missing church donations and secret meetings. Evelyn had referenced Father Gregory more than once, often alluding to him as G. Adam clenched his jaw as he read one particular letter. "G is becoming more reckless. I've seen him meeting strangers near the old chapel in the woods. I can't turn a blind eye any longer. If something happens to me, someone must know the truth." "She knew something wasn't right?" Adam muttered, glancing at Rex. The dog stared back, his intelligent eyes full of trust. Adam exhaled and continued his search. He found a diary tucked at the bottom of the box, the leather cover worn and cracked. He opened it to the last entry, dated just a few days before Evelyn's death. "I fear I'm being watched. I heard footsteps outside my window last night, and someone has been asking questions about me. I need to act fast, but who can I trust? If anything happens, Adam is the only one who might understand." The words sent a chill down Adam's spine. Evelyn had trusted him, and now she was gone. He had always respected Father Gregory, but the letters cast doubt on everything he thought he knew. Could the priest really be involved in something so dark? Adam's thoughts were interrupted by a sudden noise outside, a faint creak, as if someone had stepped on a loose board near the porch. Rex's ears perked up, and he let out a low growl. "Stay alert," Adam whispered, standing and moving quietly to the window. He peeked through the curtains but saw no one. Still, the feeling of being watched lingered. Rex's tension confirmed it. Someone might be trying to monitor their movements. Adam decided not to stay in Evelyn's house much longer. He carefully packed the letters and diary into his backpack, making sure not to leave any sign of their discovery. He and Rex exited the cottage and locked the door behind them. As they walked down the path toward the village, Adam noticed faint footprints in the damp earth near the front porch, larger than his own and too fresh to ignore. "Looks like we had a visitor," he murmured to Rex. The dog sniffed the prints but didn't bark, sensing that whoever had been there was long gone. The path back to the village was eerily quiet, the dense trees on either side casting long shadows in the fading daylight. Adam couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still watching them. Rex remained alert, his head turning at every rustle of leaves or crack of a branch. Adam tightened his grip on the backpack, determined to keep the evidence safe. When they reached the village square, the streets were mostly empty. A few villagers glanced at Adam as he passed, their faces etched with curiosity and suspicion. News of Rex's disruption at the funeral had likely spread quickly. Adam didn't stop to talk to anyone. He needed time to process what he had found and decide his next steps. Back at his cottage, Adam locked the door and pulled the curtains shut. He spread the documents on his kitchen table and began organizing them by date, hoping to find a clear timeline. It became evident that Evelyn had been investigating corruption within the church for months, maybe even years. The missing donations were only part of it. There were cryptic references to smuggling operations and people going missing, things that had never made the village gossip but now took on a sinister significance. A loud knock on the door startled Adam. Rex barked, standing protectively in front of the entrance. "Who is it?" Adam called out, his hand instinctively moving toward a hunting knife he kept nearby. "It's me, Sarah," a familiar voice replied. Adam relaxed slightly and opened the door to find Sarah Quinn, one of Evelyn's closest friends. She was in her late 20s, with dark hair tied in a braid and a look of worry in her brown eyes. "I heard you were at Evelyn's house earlier," she said, stepping inside and glancing nervously at Rex, who sniffed her cautiously before retreating to Adam's side. "What's going on?" "People are talking about what happened at the funeral."
Adam hesitated.
He trusted Sarah, but sharing what he had found could put her in danger. Rex was acting strange. He sensed something near Evelyn's coffin. "I went to her house to look around and I found some things. Letters and a diary." Sarah's eyes widened. "You think her death wasn't natural?" "I don't know yet," Adam admitted. "But Evelyn was investigating something serious. She was afraid for her life." Sarah nodded slowly. "She told me once that she didn't trust Father Gregory anymore. She didn't go into details. But she said the church wasn't as holy as people thought." Adam leaned forward. "Do you know anything about missing donations? Or secret meetings in the woods?" Sarah shook her head. "No, but I've heard rumors. Some people think the church has a hidden vault. Evelyn might have stumbled onto something she wasn't supposed to." A hidden vault. The idea matched some of the cryptic notes in the letters. Adam's mind raced. If Father Gregory was hiding evidence, that could be the key to uncovering the truth. "I need to get into that church," Adam said firmly. "If there's a vault, I have to find it before anyone else does." "You're taking a huge risk," Sarah warned. "If Father Gregory is involved, he won't let you expose him without a fight." "I know," Adam replied, glancing at Rex. "But I'm not doing this alone. Rex and I can handle it." Sarah hesitated, then placed a hand on his arm. "Be careful, Adam. Evelyn wouldn't want you to get hurt." "I will," he promised. "Thanks for trusting me." As Sarah left, Adam turned to Rex, who wagged his tail slightly but remained watchful. "Looks like we've got a long night ahead of us, buddy. Let's get ready." The shadows outside deepened as night fell over Willow Creek. Unseen eyes might still be watching, but Adam and Rex were prepared. The secrets buried in the church would not stay hidden for much longer. Night fell over Willow Creek like a thick shroud, enveloping the village in darkness. Only the faint glow of street lamps dotted the cobblestone paths, casting long, flickering shadows. Adam and Rex moved quietly through the village, avoiding the main streets. The church loomed in the distance, its towering steeple piercing the night sky like a sentinel watching over the village. Tonight, it held secrets Adam intended to uncover. As they approached, Rex sniffed the air and growled softly, his ears perked. Adam crouched beside him and whispered, "I know, boy. Stay alert. We don't know what, or who, we might run into." The church doors were locked, as expected, but Adam had prepared for this. He circled around to the side entrance near the vestry, where Evelyn had once shown him a lesser-used service door. The lock was old and rusty. With a few careful twists of a small lockpick tool, it clicked open. Rex slipped in silently, and Adam followed, shutting the door behind them. Inside, the church was eerily silent. The moonlight filtered through stained glass windows, painting the stone floor with fragmented colors. Adam took a moment to orient himself. The letters had mentioned a hidden vault, but no specific location. He had to rely on instinct and the layout of the building. "Let's check the basement first," he whispered to Rex. The two moved cautiously through the dim corridors, their footsteps muffled by the thick stone walls. They found a staircase leading down to the church's lower levels. Adam's flashlight cast long beams of light as they descended. The air grew colder, and the faint scent of mildew hung in the air. At the bottom of the staircase, they found a storage area filled with old furniture, dusty relics, and crates. Adam began examining the walls, tapping gently and listening for any hollow sounds. Rex sniffed along the base of the walls, his nose working overtime. After several minutes, the dog stopped abruptly and scratched at a section of the wall near a large wooden crucifix. Adam knelt and inspected the area. "Good boy. Let's see what you found." He ran his hands along the stone, feeling for any irregularities. His fingers brushed against a barely visible seam in the wall. With a bit of pressure, a hidden panel slid open, revealing a narrow passageway. "Looks like we're on the right track," Adam muttered, stepping inside. Rex followed closely, his senses on high alert. The passage led to a small chamber, and in the center of the room stood a large, ornate chest. Adam's pulse quickened. This had to be the vault Evelyn had mentioned. He approached cautiously, half expecting some sort of alarm or trap, but the room remained silent. The chest was locked, but Adam noticed a set of keys hanging on the wall nearby. "Convenient," he said under his breath, taking the keys and trying them on the chest. The second key fit, and with a heavy click, the lid creaked open. Inside, Adam found stacks of cash, ledgers, and what appeared to be valuable church relics. He flipped through one of the ledgers, his eyes widening as he read entries detailing the misappropriation of church funds. The records outlined years of financial manipulation, with large sums siphoned off and hidden under false accounts. Evelyn had been right. Father Gregory had been orchestrating a massive operation. There were also documents linking him to a smuggling network operating out of nearby villages. The stolen donations were being funneled into illegal activities, protected under the guise of church business. Adam felt a surge of anger. This was not just about money, it was about betrayal of trust, of faith. A sudden noise shattered his thoughts. Footsteps echoed from the corridor outside the chamber. Someone was coming. Adam quickly closed the chest and stepped into the shadows, motioning for Rex to stay quiet. The dog crouched low, his body tense. The footsteps grew louder, then stopped just outside the hidden entrance. A moment later, Father Gregory stepped into the chamber, a flashlight in hand. His expression was grim and suspicious. "I knew someone would come snooping around," the priest muttered to himself. He scanned the room, his eyes narrowing. "You should have left this alone, Adam." Adam stepped out of the shadows, keeping his voice steady. "You knew Evelyn was onto you. That's why she's dead, isn't it?" Father Gregory's face twisted in anger. "You have no idea what you're talking about. Everything I've done was for the good of this village. Sacrifices had to be made." "Sacrifices?" Adam took a step forward. "You stole from your own people and betrayed their trust. Evelyn tried to stop you, and you silenced her." The priest raised a hand, his expression darkening. "Enough. You think you can walk in here and play hero? You have no proof, and no one will believe you over me." Adam's gaze hardened. "We'll see about that." In an instant, Father Gregory lunged at Adam, aiming to knock him off balance. Adam dodged and grabbed the priest's arm, struggling to keep control of the situation. Rex barked furiously and leapt at Gregory, sinking his teeth into the man's sleeve and pulling him back. "Rex, stay."
Adam commanded.
The dog released the priest but stood protectively in front of Adam, growling menacingly. Father Gregory stumbled back, his face pale with fear. He hadn't expected Adam to be so prepared, or for Rex to intervene. "You're making a mistake, Adam. If you expose this, you'll destroy more than just me. The entire village will suffer." "The village deserves the truth," Adam replied coldly. "You've hidden behind lies for too long." The priest hesitated, then turned and bolted down the corridor. Adam didn't chase him. Instead, he focused on gathering as much evidence as he could. He photographed the contents of the chest and the documents inside. This time, there would be no more secrets. "We've got what we need, Rex," Adam said quietly. "Let's get out of here." They retraced their steps through the church, staying alert for any sign of an ambush. The night air hit them like a cold wave as they stepped outside. Adam took a deep breath, feeling a mix of relief and determination. The truth was finally within reach. As they made their way back to the village, Adam knew the hardest part was still ahead. Confronting Father Gregory publicly would be risky, but with the evidence in hand and the support of the villagers, justice would finally be served. Evelyn's voice, through her letters and diary, had guided him this far. Now it was up to him to finish what she had started. The morning sun rose slowly over Willow Creek, casting a golden light over the village square. By the time Adam returned to his cottage, exhaustion weighed on him, but he knew there was no time to rest. The evidence he had gathered was too important. Father Gregory would likely try to destroy any remaining proof or discredit him before word spread. Adam needed to act quickly. He called Sarah and asked her to meet him at his house. By the time she arrived, Adam had laid out the documents, photos, and diary on the kitchen table. Rex greeted her at the door, his tail wagging slightly but his gaze still alert. "Adam, what's going on?" Sarah asked, her voice filled with concern. "I barely slept after we talked last night. I keep thinking about Evelyn." "You were right," Adam said, pointing to the evidence. "There's a vault hidden in the church basement. It's full of stolen donations and documents proving Father Gregory's involvement in a smuggling network. He's been manipulating the village for years." Sarah's eyes widened in shock as she scanned the documents. I knew something was wrong, but this is worse than I imagined. We have to tell the others." "I know," Adam agreed, "but we can't just storm into the church and accuse him without a plan. We need the village on our side. If enough people see the evidence, Gregory won't be able to hide from the truth." Sarah nodded slowly. "You're right. We should gather everyone and present this in a public place, maybe the town hall. Once people know what's happening, they won't stand by and let him get away with it." "I was thinking the same thing," Adam replied. "But Gregory's going to fight back. He's desperate now. We have to be ready for anything." Sarah's expression hardened with resolve. "We're not alone, Adam. Evelyn had a lot of friends. People respected her. If they see this evidence, they'll stand with us." By noon, word had spread throughout the village that there would be an important meeting at the town hall. Curious and concerned, villagers began gathering outside, whispering among themselves about the strange events surrounding Evelyn's death and the disruption at her funeral. Adam and Sarah stood near the front, waiting for the crowd to settle. Rex sat calmly at Adam's side, his presence a reassuring symbol of loyalty and protection. When the hall filled, Adam stepped forward. "Thank you all for coming," he began, his voice steady but firm. "I know many of you have questions about what happened at Evelyn Harper's funeral and about her sudden death. I didn't want to believe it at first, but Evelyn was right. There are dark secrets in this village, and it's time for the truth to come out." He held up Evelyn's diary. This belonged to Evelyn. She was investigating corruption within the church, specifically involving Father Gregory. She left behind letters, records, and evidence of missing donations, secret meetings, and illegal activities tied to the church. The crowd murmured in disbelief. Adam laid out the photos and documents on a nearby table for everyone to see. He explained how he had found the hidden vault and described the contents in detail. Villagers stepped forward to examine the evidence, their faces growing grim as the truth sank in. "I know this is hard to believe," Adam continued. "Father Gregory has been a part of our lives for years, but the facts are right here. Evelyn gave her life trying to protect this village. We owe it to her and to ourselves to make sure justice is served." Just then, the doors to the town hall burst open. Father Gregory entered, his face flushed with anger. "This is slander," he bellowed. "Adam Keller, you have no authority to spread these lies. You're trying to turn the village against me with baseless accusations." The room fell silent. Adam faced the priest, his gaze unwavering. "These aren't lies, Gregory. The evidence speaks for itself. Evelyn documented everything. The missing donations, the smuggling operation, you can't deny it anymore." Several villagers voiced their outrage, demanding explanations. "What about the money we donated to the church?" someone shouted. "Where did it go? Is this why Evelyn died?" another person asked, their voice trembling with emotion. Father Gregory's composure cracked as he struggled to maintain control. "You don't understand. I did what I had to for the greater good. Without my actions, this village would have fallen apart. Adam stepped closer, his voice calm but firm. You betrayed the people who trusted you. You used their faith and their generosity for your own gain. There's no justification for that. The crowd grew more restless. Sarah spoke up, her voice steady and clear. Evelyn believed in justice. She believed in us. We have to stand together now, for her and for our future. The tension in the room reached its peak as villagers confronted Gregory. Several men stepped forward, urging him to surrender peacefully. Realizing he was outnumbered and defeated, the priest sagged under the weight of his guilt. Fine, he muttered bitterly. I'll confess, but don't pretend any of you are saints. You all benefited from the church's protection. The crowd erupted in anger, but Adam raised his hands, calling for calm. Let the authorities handle him. We've done our part by exposing the truth. Let's honor Evelyn's memory by rebuilding trust in our community. Father Gregory was escorted away by local authorities. His reign of deception finally over. The villagers gathered outside, talking among themselves about the revelations. For the first time in weeks, there was a sense of unity and purpose. Sarah approached Adam, a small smile on her face. You did it. We did it. Evelyn would be proud. Adam nodded, looking down at Rex, who wagged his tail and barked softly. We couldn't have done it without Rex. He knew something was wrong from the start. As the village slowly returned to normal, Adam felt a sense of peace settle over him. The truth had finally come to light, and Willow Creek could begin to heal. Evelyn's legacy of courage and justice would live on in the hearts of those she had touched. The days following Father Gregory's confession brought both relief and reflection to Willow Creek. For years, the village had lived under a shadow of deception. But with the truth revealed, the villagers began a slow and steady process of healing. Adam and Rex became local heroes, though Adam often deflected praise, insisting he had simply followed Evelyn's path. The church was temporarily closed for investigation. Authorities from nearby towns arrived to catalog the evidence and dismantle the smuggling network Father Gregory had secretly built. Several arrests followed, and news of the scandal spread beyond Willow Creek. For many, the hardest truth to accept was that someone they had trusted for so long had manipulated them so deeply. But the villagers found solace in each other, rallying together to ensure that such betrayal would never happen again. Adam sat on the front porch of his cottage, watching the sun rise over the hills. The soft, golden light bathed the village in warmth, as if signaling a fresh start. Rex lay at his feet, his head resting on his paws, but his ears perked up when Adam spoke. Looks like things are finally settling down, Adam said, scratching behind Rex's ears. You knew something was wrong from the beginning. You probably saved all of us. Rex thumped his tail against the wooden porch, his eyes shining with quiet pride. The bond between them had deepened through their shared journey. Adam couldn't help but smile at his loyal companion. The sound of footsteps approaching drew Adam's attention. Sarah walked up the path, a basket of fresh bread and fruit in hand. Morning, she greeted with a bright smile. Thought you could use some breakfast. You didn't have to do that, Adam said as he stood to greet her. I wanted to, Sarah replied, setting the basket on the porch railing. You've been working nonstop for days. You deserve a break.
Adam chuckled softly.
I guess I have been a bit busy. How's everyone holding up? Better than I expected, Sarah said, sitting on the porch steps. People are coming together. The village council is already talking about ways to improve oversight and transparency. They don't want to repeat the same mistakes. That's good to hear, Adam replied. It'll take time, but I think Evelyn would be proud of how everyone's handling it. Sarah nodded. She would. You gave them hope again, Adam. You reminded them that they have the power to fight for what's right. Adam looked out at the village, where neighbors were beginning their morning routines, tending gardens, chatting by the well, and preparing their shops for the day. Life was returning to normal, but there was a renewed sense of purpose in the air. I didn't do it alone, Adam said quietly. Evelyn led the way, and you were there too. And of course, Rex. He glanced down at the dog, who wagged his tail happily. We're all in this together. Sarah smiled warmly. You've always been humble, Adam. But you should give yourself some credit. You could have walked away, but you didn't. Adam thought about that for a moment. He had been at a crossroads when Rex had barked at Evelyn's funeral. Something deep inside him had urged him to seek the truth, even when it put him in danger. Now, standing on the other side of that journey, he understood that courage wasn't just about facing danger. It was about standing up for what mattered, even when the odds were against you. As the morning continued, more villagers stopped by to offer their thanks. Some brought small gifts, flowers, homemade pies, even a hand-carved figurine of Rex. Adam accepted them graciously, though he felt overwhelmed by the outpouring of gratitude. By afternoon, a gathering was held in the village square to honor Evelyn's memory. Adam, Sarah, and several others spoke about her kindness, her bravery, and her unwavering dedication to the community. A plaque was unveiled near the church, dedicating a garden in her name. When it was Adam's turn to speak, he stepped forward, feeling a lump in his throat. He looked out at the faces of his neighbors, people who had once been strangers but now felt like family. Evelyn believed in this village, he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. She believed in all of us. She saw the good in people even when things seemed hopeless, and she gave everything to protect that good. We owe it to her and to ourselves to carry that spirit forward, to stand up for each other and for what's right. The crowd listened in respectful silence, many wiping away tears. Adam took a deep breath and continued. We can't change the past, but we can shape the future. Let's make sure that future is one where trust, kindness, and justice guide us. The villagers erupted into applause, and Adam stepped back, letting Sarah take his hand in a show of solidarity. Rex barked once, wagging his tail as if to echo the sentiment. The crowd laughed softly, the moment lightened by the dog's playful enthusiasm. As the ceremony concluded, Adam felt a deep sense of peace. The village had found its strength again, and Evelyn's legacy would endure. He knew there would still be challenges ahead, but with Rex by his side and the village united, he felt ready to face them. Later that evening, Adam and Rex took a quiet walk through the woods near Evelyn's old cottage. The path was peaceful, illuminated by the soft glow of fireflies. Adam paused near a small clearing and gazed up at the stars. Thank you, Evelyn, he whispered, his voice barely audible. We'll take care of this place. I promise. Rex nuzzled Adam's hand, as if offering silent support. Together, they stood under the vast night sky, knowing that, at long last, Willow Creek was at peace.